Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vasel, and this is Q&A. We do this once a week-ish here on the Dice Tower at noon on Mondays, and I'm glad you're here. We got questions, or you got questions. I got responses. You gotta be careful. I guess I could have answers, but it sounds weird to be like, I have all the answers. But I do have responses to your questions. So if you have any questions, here's your chance to ask them. Got a lot of gaming in this weekend. I spent a majority of my weekend gaming on one game, which I'll be reviewing later this week. And then I played a lot of other games, mostly bad games actually this weekend. I played a couple good ones. Audio is a little quieter, mostly because I'm in a different studio, so that should be a little louder now. I buffed it up a bit here, so hopefully that will help. Alrighty, let's see here. What's your favorite Olympic event to watch? The Winter Olympics, actually. For Summer Olympics, actually, to be frank, my favorite event is the opening ceremonies. I always like, and the closing ceremonies. I like watching all the cool things that they do. So that's it. I used to be baseball, but they don't have baseball anymore. Maybe archery? I don't know. I don't watch a ton of Olympics, and I haven't watched anything this year. So let's see here. Dune is around the corner. Have I read Dune before? Yes. Will I go see the movie? Yes. I enjoyed the book okay. I feel like the book's a little slow in parts and it's a little dark in parts, but there's a lot of it that I like. The movie, that new trailer looks really, really good though. Can you guys do a top 10 games in your gaming biography? Can you explain what that means? I don't understand that one. Have you ever heard of someone at another table teaching just enough of a board game to make sure they win? Have or would you say anything? Are you saying that they are teaching enough of the game to somebody else so that that person understands it, but not enough so that that person can win? That sounds like a real jerk. Who would do that? I don't think I've ever seen that in person. I will review Goonies Never Say Die. I just haven't even played it yet. It was on our list. So I had this big pile of games to play over the weekend with my kids and stuff. And Goonies was on that pile. And we played every single game except Goonies. But I will try to get it played this week. What's the oldest game in the Dice Tower library that has not been played by me? Oh, I wouldn't know. I'm sure there's some in there. But most of the old ones I've played, but I wouldn't know. I'd have to do some weird cross-referencing. I can't do that right now, but I don't know. Are there any good games about the Olympics? Not particularly that I can think of. There might be a few that are okay. What was the best thing you ate this weekend? I had some tandoori shrimp. Delicious. What is a food, dish, or drink that transports you back to your childhood? Freeze pops, for sure, because when I was a kid, if I have a freeze pop, it makes me think of a kid, or a snow cone. Any ice cream in a stick. I remember, the Twinsicles, the creamsicles, all that stuff really reminds me of a kid. I think more than anything else. For food, it might be a cake or something that reminds me of what my mom made, but I don't know beyond that. Other than Roy, are there other Dice Tower members working on developing a board game? I do not think so, at least not here in the main studio. It would be the top 10 most significant games in your personal biography of gaming. So, for example, chess is what got me into gaming. Carcassonne. Oh, sure. Well, I've already done that. I've done a geek list. I'm Board Game Geek that way. I would talk about that in the history of gaming. I've done games I love, things like that. A top 10 list, that might happen sometime in the future, but don't look for it anytime soon. Oh, softball and baseball are in the Olympics this year. Well, I did not know that. I thought they had removed baseball. Ooh, fewer people here today. We've had fewer viewers all day today. I wonder why. Must be the Olympics. Let's see here. When I first played Catan, a couple were teaching us, and they left out a lot on purpose so they could win by a landslide. That just seems really weird to me. Like, are these people just jerks? I mean, did you confront them about it? It seems really weird to me. Between paper and doodle dungeons, which would you consider more fun? Well, if you notice, I gave them the exact same rank. It all depends on the mood that I'm in. I think I might lean towards paper more, maybe, but sometimes I'd rather play doodle. So they're different but similar. What's your favorite Marvel Champions hero to play? She-Hulk. I've only played the base stuff. I have not played out past that at all. I leave that to Roy. Where do you think there's the most space to try and carve out a career in the gaming industry? What could the industry use more of? I don't know an answer to that. Um, so I don't think I'm going to answer that because I don't know. That seems like a weird way to look at it. Like, I want to do something. What's available? Wouldn't you rather do something that you like doing? I mean, I'm sure there's a shortage of something in the industry, but I'm not sure off the top of my head what it would be. It might be something really boring, like there's a shortage of logistic experts in the industry. I'm not sure that I know the answer to that, but I'm not sure that it matters either. What aspects of the game do you think should be in a board game? I don't know. Again, we've talked about this in the past. It's really hard to make sports board games. Baseball is the easiest one because it's a play by play game and the stats lend themselves to it. We have very complicated baseball games, Status Pro and things like that. But I don't know. Every sports game I've ever played, I wanted it to be as light and fast as possible. Did I watch the new Masters of the Universe Revelation show? Thoughts? Yes, I'll talk about it here because I'm not going to review it on the channel. Well, I'm sure you've seen people over the internet have very strong opinions about this show. So no matter what I say, I'm going to be eviscerated, right? I thought the graphics were really well done. It's a decent show. Don't go in expecting He-Man and Skeletor. In fact, I was excited about Mark Hamill playing Skeletor, and he's barely in the show. So is He-Man. And if that's a spoiler, then so be it. But I think it's a spoiler people need to know. And I really, really, really disliked the main character. She complained the whole time. She also got really, really angry because she's a moron. What I mean is, if you don't know that Adam is He-Man, you are in cartoon world and obtusely dumb. I mean, Adam disappears, He-Man shows up. Adam has a pet tiger. This tiger, He-Man has a tiger that's in battle suit. They're both gone. They're both here. I get it. It's a cartoon. Don't think too deeply on it. But then don't make a Class A lawsuit about it. Like, no one told me, and be angry, like really angry the whole time. That was just, it was nonsensical. I really disliked her character. Like all the rest of the characters, I really disliked hers. Man at Arms, though, he's amazing. eh, I'll watch the next 5, I guess, since they left it with another cliffhanger. But it was okay. I was never a huge Masters of the Universe fan, but I like Masters of the Universe. The concept, though, I played with it as a kid, and so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the upcoming Simon game when that comes out. So that would be fun to look at that sort of thing and play those and be these characters and stuff. I thought the cartoon was fine. It wasn't bad. I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. I just would have liked it more. I'm not saying He-Man needed to be the main character, although I think it's weird that he's not. He doesn't need to be. I just wish they had made the main character more likable. Like the tech girl was very interesting, but the main character, I was like, all right, whatever. Have I had Korean spicy noodles? Of course. What's the spiciest food you could eat and enjoy? The spiciest food I could eat and enjoy. That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, there's very few spicy foods I don't enjoy. I mean, you could put hot sauce on any food and make it unenjoyable by making it blistering hot. And so, if you take that kind of food out of the equation, the foods that are so blistering hot, they're there just to be a chili that's so hot, that no one can finish it. I'm not talking about that stuff. Like normal foods, like there's some really spicy Thai food and some really spicy Korean food. Thai food's spicier than Korean food. So I don't know that there's any quote unquote normal food that I can't handle. Maybe there's one I'm not thinking of. Yeah, there's a lot of ridiculous food that I wouldn't eat, but people are not eating that for flavor. They're eating that to see how hot it can be. Do you enjoy going to drive-in movie theaters? I never went to one. I've never gone to a drive-in movie theater. Um, I never actually really had a chance to. There's never been one really near me to go to. I don't think there's any down here. And even if there is, I don't know that I would want to go to a drive-in movie theater. My car's not that comfortable to sit in. It must be a nostalgia thing. It seems cool. I'm just okay with these really comfortable movie theater seats. Will there be any collaborations with other channels coming up soon that you can tell us about? I don't have any planned in the books. That's not to say that stuff won't happen, but I mean, so I've been thinking about this a bit. We certainly want to we like working with other channels and doing different things, but we should make our own channel work at some point, right? We have content to put out. We're not hurting for content here. We have a lot to do. So collaborations is good, but I don't want to get so caught up in that. And I think it's easy to get caught up in that. Oh, look, I'm on this channel. I'm on this channel. I'm on this channel, and I'm never on my own channel. It's like the game. It's like the book author who goes out to conventions so often he never, writes the seventh novel of his book series. A few questions here that I'm not going to answer, like what game theme do you want to see? I get asked it every single week, so I probably won't answer it for like 6 years. Um, and I also get asked all the time the worst rule book. I don't know. I don't keep track of that. There's like hundreds of bad rule books I've read, so there's no one that seems worse. What are your expectations for Gen Con this year? I haven't a clue. I don't know what Gen Con's going to be like. We'll find out. Do you anticipate seeing more IP tie-in board games moving forward? For sure. If it wasn't for illegality and chance of being mauled to death, I'd love to have a pet tiger. I agree. I think a pet tiger would be really cool if it was A, legal and ethical, and B, yeah, they couldn't go wild and get you. When I was watching Tiger King and they showed how they took baby tigers to places, and that as a way to pick up people, and I thought I could see how that would work. A baby tiger's so cute. But yes, no, otherwise. When is Shoots and Marbles this week? It's tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We'll see you then. Have you ever wanted to own a classic car? Not particularly, although I do like punch buggies, Volkswagen Beetles. But I don't really care about classic cars. I think they look cool. To me, I want a very, very, very comfortable car. So the more modern, the better. I know that I might enjoy Castlevania. I might watch it. I just don't like vampires that much. That's all. If I could make one cartoon from my child into a game, what cartoon would it be? G.I. Joe. What would be the main mechanisms? An open world combat, tactical combat game. And yes, and again, Tila again. I could see Tila being upset. What I couldn't understand is her being so upset in the heat of the moment that she took it out on all the nice people, not the bad guys, and then continued to do so throughout the whole thing. There was one line, slight spoilers here, where He-Man says something to the effect of, "But I died," and she was like, "Yeah, but it was worse for me because I had to live," and it was like, really? Come on now. She just seemed irrational. Um, a full table size mat would be quite expensive to produce for us here. Someone asked if I'd ever make a full size mat like the ones that are sitting on this table in front of me. They're really expensive, and they're also very expensive to ship. Um, and we're trying to avoid that. I'm not saying it won't happen, but it's difficult at the point in time. What's the rarest or most interesting animal I've seen in the wild? Nothing spectacular. I guess I've seen monkeys. How do you know Blake and Jenny from Summer Spectacular? Both of them are part of the show. Blake does reviews for us, and Jenny has worked with us for a while in various ways, and she's also come to many of our shows and stuff, and she doesn't live too far from us. When we come out of pandemic restrictions, do you think we'll see designers, publishers shift their current emphasis or continue to evolve digital solo two-person game variants? No, I think we'll still see people do that. What's your favorite Cuban restaurant near the hotel at Dice Tower Retreat? I don't know. You should ask Kenny that when you get there because I don't live up in that area. I live down in Homestead. That's about 40 minutes north of us, maybe 30 minutes north of us. We often see you in a long sleeve dress shirt and tie. Do you wear that outside in Florida? Sure. Why not? Corn tortilla or flour tortilla for tacos? Usually flour for me over corn. Corn's okay. I like flour better, I think. Can we have a top 10 for the book? Sorry, the book's not in this room. It's in the other room. And a review is being recorded there. That's why I'm in this room. How do you feel about people getting angry during social deduction games? Is it part of the game or are people taking things too seriously? Depends how angry you get. I can see you being annoyed at the time of someone not believing you or whatever, but you need to if you let it go the instant the game's over, or you don't take it too far in game. I think I throw a chair one time in a werewolf game I was in at Origins. I'll never forget that. And we were like, okay. He was trying to yell that he was innocent. He got killed the next night, mostly I think because people were like, get this guy out of the game. Yeah, I don't like that. What was the worst job I've ever had? Well, let's go through all my jobs. All right. So my first job, not counting doing stuff for my parents, my first job was working as a stock clerk at an IGA grocery store. No, cart boy, then stock clerk. That was fine. I enjoyed that. I helped my dad clean banks. I didn't like that, but I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. Didn't like cleaning. Um, in college, I worked as a boxer, not a boxer, but someone who boxed things. I think they're automated machines now. Um, and then I worked as a folder, which is where you take a huge sheet of paper. When a book is made, a book, let's say a book has 250 pages or something like that. So I worked at a print shop, and what they do is they print them out on huge sheets of paper that have 16 or 32 pages in them. You then run it through a folding machine that folds it in half, then in half, then in half again, and then those are put into the binder, and a binder will take like 10 or 15 of these packets that we made, put them together in a book, and then cuts off all the sides. That's how books are made for the most part. So I was the folder. So I would take these sheets, flip them, run them through this machine, make sure they fold it properly. I hated it, but it was such a useful job. It was the worst boss I ever had was at that place too. So that was probably a lot of it. Really bad boss. A boss who just was always yelling at everyone, always overworking everybody that didn't do anything himself, as far as we could tell. So maybe it's that job. I did that for a while. Then I worked in a library, which was amazing. I worked in a kitchen where I washed dishes for an elementary school, which you would think would be horrible, but I didn't mind that job. I don't know why. I felt very satisfying to start with all these filthy dishes coming in, and then they were all clean by the end. I don't know why. Then I worked at a church, which I really enjoyed. I worked for Taco Bell multiple times, which was fine. I worked for I was a telemarketer, which I kind of really liked, although super stressful. So there were some days where I went home almost not in tears, but almost because it's so people you know how you talk to telemarketers. Imagine being on the receiving end of that. Then in Korea, I was a teacher, pastor, teacher, dice tower. I think I got all my jobs. There's probably some part time stuff in there along the way. I did temp jobs and things like that. So I guess the folder would be the worst one. Some of you are like, I'm not here for this. I don't remember the original theme for Raptor, but I know it wasn't dinosaurs. It was something else, but I don't remember what it was. I apologize. Are you excited for Descent 3? Well, I'm going to give you the most neutral answer I can possibly give you, and that is you'll find out later this week. I have solidified my thoughts on Descent 3 because I played it a lot, but you'll hear more about it later. I can't say anything more than that. During lockdown, what did you miss the most? Um, just hanging out with other people, I guess. You showed off a lot of the new Kickstarter merchandise on Board Game Breakfast, but I didn't see the deck of cards. Is it coming from a different factory or something? Yes. Um, most of our stuff comes from different factories. The stuff you happen to see today all came from Panda Manufacturing. So that's why you saw all that. It came together. But like the deck of cards is made by someone else. The dice towers are made by somebody else. So there's a lot of different places that the stuff comes from. Growing up, did you attend public school? No, I did not. I either went to private Christian school or I was homeschooled. Will you consider showing off one of your most blinged out games in upcoming board game breakfast? Maybe, or maybe not. I like to work in board games for a living. I've designed video games professionally, and I have about 6 board games I've designed as a hobby. Do you have any advice for getting a first time job? Yeah, I wouldn't expect to get one as a designer. Designers are mostly done per piecework. You don't get hired. You sell your designs to companies, and then they either pay you straight out for the design or as a royalty. But people ask me this a lot, like, how do I get my foot into the industry? How do I get into the industry? We already had a question about that today. I It's possible, okay? I'm never going to tell anyone anything is impossible. You can do what you're going to do. But it's not so easy just to be like, I'm going to do this as a living. Almost everyone in the board game industry that I know of who does anything, whether it's designer or publisher, almost all of them do it as a part-time job for a while. And then eventually it becomes a full-time job. Now you can get hired by somebody, but for that, you're just going to have to look for those jobs when they come. But even when people hire someone, it's because they know them because they were in the industry somehow, some way before, usually. My advice, if you have 6 board games you design as a hobby, is start going to conventions, show them to publishers, and see what happens. Is that a sunburnt, slightly inebriated Bonacore peeking between the books on the shelf behind you? I'm actually really happy with this. It's something I saw on Facebook, and this is Frankenstein. They had several of them. There was also uh, the clown from It and Gollum and one other one. And so I got Frankenstein. I don't know why I've always liked Frankenstein, but I thought it was a clever thing, and I think it looks pretty cool. It's not super scary. I mean, the clown would probably scare people more from It, um, but it's just a little bit like ooh. I don't know. I just like it. How big is the Dice Tower team that we almost never see on screen? You see most everybody. I mean, here in the main studio, we have myself and Z. Z's on screen all the time, and Mike and Chris, who are on screen a lot, and Roy, who you don't see as much as the other guys, but that's because he's running everything. And then Kenny, you never see Kenny because he's always behind the screen doing logistics. I think he showed up for one of the games in the Summer Spectacular, maybe. He shows up occasionally, but he's mostly doing stuff behind the scenes. So that's what we have here. That's our team. I got 3 convention directors: Tim Metvier, who lives in Vegas, and Sharon, who lives here in, she lives an hour north of me in Lauderdale, and Jason Levine, who lives also an hour north of me in Lauderdale. So they run those respective things. And then we got Robert Searing, who does our web stuff up in Oklahoma. And then Eric, who's my podcast host, and the Manny Suzanne, who do the podcast. Now, those are like extended people. And then Lindsay. You don't see Lindsay. She's runs all of our marketing. She's full-time Dice Tower and really does a good job at keeping stuff together. So Lindsay and Kenny and Roy are the behind-the-scenes. I mean, you see Roy more than the other 2, but those 3 are the behind-the-scenes team that does everything here at the Dice Tower. Any generic advice, do's or don'ts for beginning a local convention? Focus on gaming/fun and see what happens. I am very hesitant to give out too much advice on this because there's so much that can go on in it. The answer to right now is I have no idea. Make the convention the way that you want to, the convention that you want to go to, I suppose. But right now, with post-coronavirus, we don't even know how conventions are going to be running. I guess a few have gone off at this point or going off soon. We'll just have to wait and see. What Indian food do you like to eat? Well, I like tandoori a lot. And naan, I could eat naan until it comes out my ears. I don't know that there's much. I haven't had anything Indian food that I really dislike. So, I don't know. I just usually pick something off the menu and see what it tastes like. Best burger meat that isn't beef. Ooh, that's a good question. I just had a lamb burger. And I have to say, I was okay on it. It wasn't amazing. So the best burger meat that isn't beef for me is bison at this point in time. So I've had bison, turkey, elk. I think I've had boar and lamb. Oh, and chicken, I guess, whatever. I've not had the Impossible Burger, but I've also not seen the need to want to eat the Impossible Burger because I'm pretty cool with possible burgers. The Impossible Burger, if I didn't want to eat meat, then yes, I would try it. As is, I'm like, meh, I don't really, why. So bison, I guess. Have the key games replace awkward guess as your favorite deduction game? I don't know. I'll have to compare the 2 of them and see. What is the best way to approach a popular content creator at a convention? I feel like it would be awesome to meet people, but I would hate interrupting their personal convention plans. I can't speak for the popular content creators, but for myself, a okay content creator, I can speak for me. If you see me at a con, come say hi. Now, obviously, if you see me in the middle of doing something, if you see me trying to be alone, and that's pretty obvious when someone's trying to be alone. But if I'm just standing there, if I'm walking around, sure, say hi. The only 2 times that there's 3 times I found it frustrating when people do this. One is at the end of a con. At the very end of a con, we are cleaning up our booth. It's a ton of work. And invariably, a bunch of people come by and say, hey, can we get pictures and everything? And that's fine. But also, the con was open for 3, 4, 5 days. And we're trying to get stuff done at that point in time. So that's a little frustrating there a few times. When I'm walking around carrying a huge pile of whatever, then some people are like, hey, can I get a picture? That's a little odd too. And then there are times where I'm trying to be alone. Like I once was in a breakfast restaurant. I went and sat all the way on the one side with my back to everybody else. And it was before the convention. I was just kind of like getting ready to go, reading a book. And a guy came by and said, I see you're sitting here trying to be alone. He said, but I want to talk to you anyway. So he sat down and talked. And I thought, all right, well, what else can I say at this point? I'll talk, but those are the outlier cases. Otherwise, please come say hi to me. I like talking to people. I don't get a lot of feedback in person from our comments. And as you can see on the internet, lots of comments are often quite negative or rude and things. In person is much, much more fun. We like to say hi. I may not talk to you for a year and a half, but we'll talk. Well, at least say hi at minimum. So don't feel afraid to come up and say hi to people. And some people come up and are like, "I'm sorry to bother you." I'm like, "I don't know. If I don't want people to bother me, then I'll go hide somewhere, or I'll take my hat off, because I'm easier to spot with the hat." I've heard about this new Star Wars Hotel Disney, but I don't know enough to go, and it's probably super, super expensive. How much do you play the piano? I'm not particularly well at the piano. I had 2 years of lessons, which is not much. And then my mom made me practice the piano for the next 10 years after that. Um, but I didn't really learn more. I just kept playing the same stuff over and over and over. I played for our church, so I learned to play all the songs our church would sing. So I knew that stuff. When I went to college, I stopped playing, and I haven't played much. I have a keyboard at home, and occasionally I sit down and just mess around with it. But I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 of how good people are at the piano, with 10 being, the the fancy pianists of the world, and 1 being someone who doesn't know how to play the piano, I'm at a 4, maybe a 5, right? But if you know someone who plays the piano, they play better than me. Who's the funniest in your group? It all depends on the time and day. That's probably Z. I got a promo item from the Jack Vasel auction as Z's likeness on it. Would it be awkward for me to ask him to sign it? If you see him at a convention, you have it with you? Sure, why not? Besides roller coasters, do you like other thrill rides like drop towers? Yeah. I think my favorite rides at amusement parks now are more the Disney-esque rides where you go through and see something. I like stuff that's really fast though, but doesn't twist you around too much. That's why I like airboat rides. I love riding an airboat. That's not an amusement park ride. When is the revisiting four score review for Tapestry with expansion? I apologize, I don't know what that means. But let me guess. I think you're saying the four square. I'm assuming you're saying when are we going to do a four square review of Tapestry and the expansion? Well, that's not going to happen. If we said we were going to do it, then I apologize. We changed our minds. It's not going to happen. I liked it with the expansion. I thought the expansion was more stuff, good. Although I still think it's weird that that expansion had major fixes to the game. It's still odd to me that Tapestry was released and I played it and I thought, this seems clearly overbalanced. Clearly. But what do I know? I have only played it a few times. I obviously would not, be able to, but there must be stuff I don't know about. And then they released it, and yes, these were clearly overbalanced. And I thought, well, if I could see that instantly, how did nobody catch that before it was released? That seemed odd to me. But I feel the same way, really, with the expansion. But so we're not really going to do it again. Have you had a chance to play more Chronicles of Dronagor? It's next on my list of things to get around to. There's just so many big games. And everyone was like, oh, we need to review all these big games. They take a big amount of work to do those. Like for Descent, I probably put 15 plus hours into that game at this point. That's a lot of work for one game. Actually, I think I put more hours than that into it, maybe 17 to 20. It's a lot of time for one review. Um, so we have to be cautious on that. There's only so much time in a week. I have to make a prize basket of board games for a Cub Scout pack, ages 5 to 10. What are some games you would include? I don't know. I know it sounds like a cop out, but I can't just quick name some games because I don't know what's in print. I don't know. I would just go. Again, I'm putting this on you. This is you. You do the research. You buy the gift. Otherwise, just give them a gift card. But go look at what's available at your local store, Barnes and Nobles, online, and then go look at the reviews for those games and pick some good kids ones out. Haba games, Game Right games, whatever it might be. But I don't know what's currently out there to buy at any given point, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Have you had a top 10 games where the first play is as good as the last? A one game learning curve for inexperienced players, but challenging enough to be interesting after multiple plays? No, and I don't think I will because I don't know that you can quantify that. I mean, no, I don't think that's even a thing really. I mean, you all your favorite games, you can be like, when I first played it was amazing. I still like it. It's amazing. Sure, that's fine, but that's not really a category of games. Oh, I'm learning ZBrush to design minis for board games. Anything you hate about minis, I should avoid. Anything you love about minis, I should make sure to include. Well, make sure that the mini stands up very sturdily. You can make a cool miniature, but if it falls over all the time, it's annoying. Also, this is my personal opinion, but I think a mini should, if you draw like if the mini fits on a square, for example, so draw invisible walls up from that square, that mini should be able to fit in that square and not be a problem. It shouldn't knock other stuff around. Um, so that's what I would do. I'd make them sturdy too. How would you rank the unlocked games? I might do that at some point. Now that there's 30 of them, 30 different games, I might go through them. I don't know off the top of my head which one's my favorite. I'm pretty sure I do, but I have to go back and look through them all. I think I might rank them all at some point. 30 does seem like a good number to do that with. I know my 30. um, that sounds like a fun thing to do, though. I might do that. There's 9 normal ones and 1 Star Wars one. Do you enjoy gardening? Whatever the opposite of yes is. Yeah, no, I really, really don't. When you back a deluxe version of the game, do you prefer when they add both the regular components with the deluxe or just replace them? It's more expensive for them to add both, so I get why they would not. But I don't mind because there's the occasional time where I'll keep some of the normal ones over the deluxe if I think the deluxe aren't as good. And that's happened with a few games. Hot dogs or corn dogs? Hot dogs for sure. I don't dislike corn dogs, but hot dogs have much more staying power. You gave Meadow a stellar review. Do you think it's an early frontrunner for Game of the Year? I was getting Wingspan vibes during your overview. I don't know. I've been looking at all the different games I played this year, and I have some clear favorites, but I'd rather keep that under my hat until we get to the end of the year. Um, is there a contest today? There is a contest today. I have no idea why I can't remember these contests. So, folks, Game Nerds. Game Nerds is an amazing place where you can buy board games and you can get a $10 gift certificate for them. So, let me check here to see what. Let me look here. There it is. So today you can enter this contest by emailing us at contest@dicetower.com. And in the subject line, put the word Ruby, as in my daughter's name. I guess that's why it's there. So Ruby. And this is you'll if you win, we'll let you know. You can get a $10 gift certificate to Game Nerds, who has some fantastic games. So there you have it. Have I seen the Hot Ones interview program? Yeah, I've seen it occasionally. Would you be willing to participate in it? Sure, I guess. It seems like it wouldn't be much fun after a certain level of heat, but also I'm not even remotely in the realm of the people that person's looking forward to interview. Have you heard the Restoration Games is finally redoing Thunder Road? Thoughts? That seems really cool. Moose burgers are awesome. Well, that does sound good. What was the last game you played that wasn't played for content purposes? I don't know. The last game I played in 2001, I guess, before I started doing reviews. Every game I play, I think about, can I get content out of this? Doesn't matter if I played it 80 times before. Doesn't matter if I've already done a review and everything. I think about it every single time. I can't help myself. So it is what it is. Your stream is extremely silent. Like you can't hear me at all? Or do you mean it's just lowering in sound? There's nothing we can do about that right now. It's just you hear it here. Hopefully you can just turn up your computer. And if you can't, I'm really sorry about that. How can we contribute to Board Game Breakfast? You can email me. You might as well just do it. If you're gonna email me and be part of Board Game Breakfast, send me a audition clip. Send me an actual 2-minute or less clip of what you would put on Board Game Breakfast, exactly as if I was gonna put it up the next week. Realize though, there's a good chance I'll say no. I'm not adding everyone. I'm looking for different stuff, something different, something cool, and it just may not be my style. So realize that. But you can always email me at tom@dicetower.com. How hard do you try not to give away whether or not you like a game until the end of the review? I usually try to do that. Is it a big concern? It is not. Take your hat off and we'll know. And they'll leave me alone. But maybe not, because I might be carrying boxes and I want to take my hat with me. I'm not going to take my hat off and carry that too. You got to wear the hat, you know. Please allow people to suggest Catch-A-Palooza games. Oh, you can always suggest them, but the chance of us doing them is really based on what we want to do. Like you mentioned, Hand of Fate Ordeals. I don't, let me look that up because I'm not even sure what you're talking about there. Hand of Fate Ordeals BGG. We might have this game. I don't know how it would be a Catch-A-Palooza though. Maybe someone in Dice Tower has played it. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. I played this game, haven't I? No, I didn't play this game. Maybe, but maybe not. Just can't play everything. That's all there is to it. So we'll play them, but we don't always play them. You can suggest it, but I won't take suggestions, honestly. For Catch-A-Palooza, we're going based on what the other people in the studio say. You should try this out. So we'll get some more done, but it might be a bit. Are you interested in chess enough to be following the championship? I didn't know there was a championship. Should actually answer your question. Watching the games you play makes me feel that the game has a let's see who blinks first factor. I don't know. I just don't really watch them. I just recently watched the top 10 Tom is Wrong videos and they were liars. Would there be future videos of such kind? Yes, we will do those in the future. What's your favorite element on the periodic table? I'll say gold. I don't have much of it, so if you would like to send me some, I'll be fine. Do you think there are board game mechanics that haven't been created or thought of yet? Yes. I don't think 2021 is like the pinnacle. We'll never come up with a new idea again. That's just so egotistical on one hand to talk that way. You're like, I guess we can't get better. I mean, that's always been said and it's always been wrong by and like everything. Like, we'll never need more than 640K, right? Well, is there an object that you hold, own, and is dear to you, and people would be surprised by or curious about? Yes. Do you remember your dreams when you wake up? Yes. I usually remember right when I wake up some of the dreams I have. Depends when I wake up. If I wake up, in the middle of the dreams, I'll remember it sometimes, but very rarely will they stick very strongly with me. When they do, sometimes on my morning walk with my wife, I'll try to get it into words just to get it out because once I say it, it's more memorable to me. I'll remember it. But most of the time, I just forget them. Would you consider making an updated top 10 game designer list in the future? Yeah, you might see that this year. We'll see. Um, I will not do a ranking on the characters on Unmatched till I play them. I have not played most of the characters in Unmatched. I played several of them, but not all of them. Z is our Unmatched guy. Has doing your shelf reviews made you want to play a game again? Oh yeah, for sure. But I've been doing that. I pull new games. I pull old games off the shelves all the time now. Have you played Marvel Funkoverse? Review coming this week. Have I got a chance to play other Hexplore games in the series? No, but I did get a new one, and I looked at all the rules for it and everything, and I feel like nothing's going to change in my mind. It seems like pretty much the same game with just different stuff in it. So I feel like it would be the same thing. I'm sure there's some differences, but it didn't look that different. That's not a random top five. Top five desserts after the key lime pie and empanadas are gone. So you're just asking me for like numbers 3 through 10? Come on. Nope. I will do only top tens or top fives only. For someone who loves Fury of Dracula, what should be my next board game? Oh, well, there's a lot of games that are like that. You might want to consider the up and coming. This is terrible, but all the names of the games that I'm thinking of, I cannot think. Maybe people in the comment. I'm sorry. There's one from Plaid Hat Games. There's an up and coming one based on a shooter video game, and then there is one that Jay Cormier just did based on a comic. That's terrible. Three games. I can't remember the names of any of them. A top 10 Nintendo Switch board games? Has Nintendo. Oh, you mean to play on a Switch? I've never played a board game on a Switch, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't want to. The Switch is good for video games. Why would I play a board game on the Switch as opposed to play it on my iPad? iPad's great for doing that. Coming to Key West on a cruise, best key lime pie in Key West. Anything else to do while there? I can't answer that. I've never been to Key West. You'd think I would go there. I just have never gone down. From what I understand, it's not particularly kid friendly, Key West. So me and my wife would have to go down there. And it takes 3 hours to get there and 3 hours to get back. So that's a 6 hour trip to go to some place for a day, unless I get a hotel down there. Eh. Oh, people are buffering? Sorry about that. Why does Eric Summer refer to Dice Tower West as fun on the West Coast? Vegas is quite a ways from the coast. I'm concerned. Just give us it. It's in the West. It's close to the West Coast. It's much closer to the West Coast than it is the East Coast. It's not even close. It's not even like it's close to the middle. It's much closer to the West Coast than everything else. So we're going to continue to call it a West Coast convention. Sorry. That's just the way it's going to be. Sorry. Oh, might do the contest thing again. We missed most of it. Well, if you missed the contest, I'll say it again. It is emails at contest@dicetower.com. Put the word Ruby in the subject line. And then in the body, you just put your address or whatever. You don't have to even put your address because it's a digital thing. So don't worry about it. Just put your name in the body. We'll pick a random person. Go to Game Nerds. Fantastic website. Will the Dice Tower West, I'm assuming you mean library, be available at Meepleville and Las Vegas throughout the year, or is that only Dice Tower West? Probably just Dice Tower West. I don't think it'll be available at Meepleville, but Meepleville has a huge library of games already. It's very big. You used to do reviews in more casual clothing. When or why did you decide to go with the shirt, tie, suspenders, and hat for all your appearance? I don't know what made me do them in the t-shirts. I never really have dressed in t-shirts much in my life. I've almost always worn and dressed up, and I think dressing up makes me do a better job. And also it's easier to clip a mic to a dress shirt, but that's not the main reason. This is kind of the way I dress all the time. I dress down a little bit on Saturdays, or when I do things like swimming or go to an amusement park or something like that. But for the most part, I dress like this. All right, just so everyone knows, if this is buffering and you're watching this later, it has nothing to do with Roy. It must be our internet just is kind of messing up here. Although I don't know why, because it should be running smoothly. It doesn't show any problem here. And there's nothing, no one else is streaming or anything that I know of. Alrighty, jumping through the questions here. Tips on engaging with a game group that has only alpha gamers or has alpha gamers? Yeah, I don't know. I am an alpha gamer, so it's hard for me to kind of emphasize with that. I mean, not that I sympathize with it, but I don't know what it feels like. When I go to game group the first time, I'll be quietish and I'll bring some games to play and stuff, but I won't have any problem saying, I want to do this, I want to do that. That's just the way I am. So if you're not that way, I don't know. Who's your preferred group to play games with? Anybody who's fun to play games with, I'll play with. Do you contemplate on returning to Stash? No, I'm not shaving every day anymore. I was shaving every day. So now I shave like once a week or twice a week, more like it. I don't know. I just don't like the mustache. So yes, I know everyone says Amish, yada yada yada. This look, but I don't know. I like this look. It looks different. I've always thought I should look a little different than other people. Would you review board games only in Tabletop Simulator Tabletopia with a capital N-O exclamation point, underlined, bolded, circled, in 30-point font? No, I won't. Publishers have actually asked me to do this, and I've said no. I just don't like doing it. And why would Dice Towers is I like doing it, reviewing stuff that I find to be enjoyable. Are all your kids into board games? My first is due next month. What are some pitfalls to avoid to make sure I don't put them off years down the road? Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Who cares? They can hate board games, and it's okay. They don't have to like the same things you do. Think about what you're saying here. My dad likes sports a lot. I'm not a huge sports fan. Am I a disappointment to him? Did he do something wrong? No. It's okay. If there's one thing I want to like shake parents and be like, your kids don't have to like games. You can play games with them. You can make them play games. You can do some enjoyable things with them. But at the end of the day, they might hate them. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. Not everyone has to like the same things. Otherwise, we'd all be wearing suspenders, ties, and hats. I like these. Yes, I understand that's what you meant. That only exists in Tabletop Simulator. That's what I'm saying. No. How's my dog? My dog, I want to throttle the dog last night. So my kids lock the dog and close the door and put the dog in their room. They do that because the dog wants to be near me all the time now. So the dog at 4 in the morning barks really loudly. I'm like, let the dog out. No one does anything. After 2 minutes of barking, I finally get out, storming. I'm like, what if the house was on fire? Wouldn't you hear the dog? And they're like, oh, we didn't hear the dog. So I take the dog downstairs, take her outside. She doesn't have to go to the bathroom. She just barked for no reason. It's my opinion that the dog was not tremendously high at that point in time. But then in the morning, she comes and kisses me and loves me. And, there's that. It's like, fine. I don't get why the dog... I am home the least in our family. And the dog clearly likes me the best. It's such a weird thing. She really follows me everywhere. She wants to be near me. I'll get up and walk from one room to the other, and she'll follow me. Man, I'm not hating this. It's very Mary Had a Little Lamb type-esque thing. It's just odd to me that she likes me so much more than the rest of the family. And again, not upset with that at all. And no, I'm not talking about Rainbow Six. Not at all. And not when I was talking about the board game. It's the other one. Mind management. Yes, that's one. Mind management is one of the games that I think you would like. It's if you like Fury of Dracula, I think you would like Mind Management. That's one of the 3 games. Have I ever been on a Jungle Cruise? Yes. Favorite joke? I don't remember. They were all corny, but I was amused because I like seeing my kids react to them. Spectre Ops and Metal Gear and Mind Management. John Hogger wins the prize of being right on all 3. Good job. Tom wearing suspenders with swimming trunks. No, but I do wear a shirt when I swim. Mostly because I don't feel like burning my shoulders. I don't care. I might look silly, but I will walk around the rest of the day without being burned. I mean, I will get burned usually. I burn pretty easily, but I try to put sunscreen on. Is it rude if someone else has taught you a game and you suspect they might have gotten something wrong to go over the rules yourself? Maybe. I do it anyway, though. I really struggle. When Z teaches me a game, I sit there like this, and I'm listening. And then later on, I'll be like, what about? And he hands me the rule book. He's like, I know you've been wanting to look at this. I'm like, yeah, I do. I like looking through the rule book. I really do. So if the person is mine, I read through a rule book, not to catch him in something that's wrong. It's just I'm looking at all the rules. And every once in a while, I'll go, oh, actually. But most people don't get upset over that. I don't get upset at the person. I'll get upset myself. If I'm teaching part of a rule and someone says, it says this, I'm like, I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at me for messing the rule up. Is there a sign-up list that retreats for specific games? If there is, I'm not involved with it in any way, and I actively discourage it. If I go with people who don't want to play a game that I do, is there a way to corral folks like that with it? It's not hard. You just go there and you say, hey, I want to play this game. We'll have players want it signs. You can set the game up and see if you can get some people over. Or just people will walk up and down looking at the library for really long periods of time. It happens all the time. I get it. I do it myself. So while they're going up and down looking at it, you'd be like, hey, you want to play this game? It's not hard to get into a game. Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, no, I get it. If you have a Switch and not an iPad, then you want to play games on the Switch, and that's fine. It just for me, since I have both, and I guess I have both. I never see the Switch anymore. My son controls that. But I just like the touch. The Switch touchscreen is not terrible, but the touchscreen on the iPad is just amazing. That's all. Not like the internet is shy correcting you when you do live plays. Indeed, they are not. Magical Athlete is not a guilty pleasure for me. I think Magical Athlete is a lot of fun. Thoughts on publishers releasing good, less than impressive components and then releasing upgrade packs is a legit way to keep games cheap or a cash grab as combined cost is higher than average. I don't think it's the cash grab thing. I mean, everything's a cash grab because companies want to make money. So, of course, that. But by doing it that way, you can make the game more inexpensive and then let people upgrade if they want to and if they don't want to upgrade. Now, there are some companies that released upgrade kits that you're like, is that really an upgrade? But I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm kind of glad when I do it. What proportion of board games are stored in Calyx units do you think? I don't know, but it does seem to be like an overly huge amount of people who have Calyx shelves. But there's a lot of other good shelves too. Alrighty. Well, that being said, folks, that's it. I got to get going here. I got more games to review and get stuff done before the end of today. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate everyone swinging by. I mentioned the contest a couple times. One time while I was buffering, I guess. But there's a contest. And we'll be back. We got more things, a few more videos going up today. More stuff coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow we're doing live. I'll be doing at 2 o'clock tomorrow. 5 more great games. And at 3 o'clock, our marble racings. Wednesday, crowd surfing. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot tomorrow morning. They're playing The Loop live. Ooh, The Loop, The Loop. And then tomorrow, and then Thursday, Board Game Breakfast live. And, very exciting, on Thursday, we'll be doing our top 10 advanced two-player games. So, lots of stuff to look forward to. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Q&A here on the Dice Tower. Nope.